Hello, my name is Matt Hayes and I'm a research assistant at the University Museum of Zoology in Cambridge. Today I want to talk to you about how we can keep our gardens wild and how we can actually do a bit less to help wildlife along the way. So basically I'm telling you that you can do less work in your garden and do a bit for nature at the same time. Now, one of the problems with modern gardens is that they're often kept very neat and tidy. And while this might look quite nice to some, it's actually not very good for wildlife. Wildlife tends to do well when there's a lot of variety, so one of the worst things we can do is have 4 bare walls like this with nothing in between but short grass or paving. To try and move away from this, consider allowing a part of your lawn to grow up longer and become more tufty. And you might even want to consider allowing some of the plants we often think of as weeds to grow up amongst the lawn as well, so things like dandelions and daisies. And if you have the space, something like a scrubby border with trees or bushes and hedges can help provide variety to the habitats in your garden and is sure to support a whole host of different animals. If you can't fit all of these things in your garden, then that's fine. And if you don't have a garden at all, then even a few flowering plants on a windowsill or allowing something like ivy or other climbing plants to grow up a bare wall can do a lot to help keep our habitats where we live nice and varied for wildlife. One plant in particular that gets a bit of a bad rep is the nettle, and that's understandable because it does sting and it can quite quickly sprout up to dominate other plants. But actually nettles are fantastic for wildlife and support a lot of our species, including some of our largest butterflies like the peacock butterfly's caterpillar. And actually last summer I went and investigated these caterpillars myself. Numbers of adult peacock butterflies tend to drop off a bit around mid-June for a month when the next generation is developing as caterpillars, and the food plant they use are nettles, and we've actually found some here. They gather together in large groups and they have this beautiful black colour with speckled white, and they are lined with spines down the length of their body which helps protect them from predators. Peacock caterpillars aren't the only ones that use nettles. There's also small tortoiseshells, red admirals and commas. And it's thought that actually about 40 other species of insect also feed on nettles. And then animals such as birds and frogs will eat the insects and also use nettles as a bit of a refuge themselves. So although for some people nettles have a reputation as maybe being a weed, they're actually one of the best things you can have in your garden for wildlife. So keeping a little sunny patch of nettles will go a long way. So far we've talked about different plants that you can add to your garden to help bring some variety. But what happens in autumn and winter when these plants begin to die back and begin to lose their leaves? This can be a time of year when we are most tempted to tidy up our green spaces, as leaf litter can look quite messy. But keeping with the theme of today, this decaying material can actually be great for wildlife. Lots of different insects hunker down in leaf litter over winter to avoid the worst of the weather. And actually last year, I was looking through the leaf litter in my garden and we found some pretty chunky caterpillars. We then reared them, and a few months later they emerged as beautiful yellow underwing moths. Therefore, leaving some leaf litter to build up can help provide a refuge, and if you do want to clear your leaf litter up, try waiting until after March when some of these species have had a chance to emerge. Alternatively, you can collect your leaf litter together into a designated leaf pile or compost heap, and you may even get larger visitors to your garden. So I did this last year in my own garden and had hedgehogs coming in for the first time. And here is our resident hedgehog in front of our leaf pile, and we also put a little tray out with some dried cat food on, which he likes to feed on quite eagerly, as you can see right here. But in addition to the cat food, it also enjoys rummaging around our leaf litter to feed on the invertebrates that live in it, and the leaf pile itself can be used as a shelter. It can even be a space where the hedgehog can safely hibernate over winter. So there you have it, a few tips for keeping your garden messier and wilder to help support nature where you live.